everyone. I warmly welcome you all to my research paper presentation titled Emotional Keyboard to Provide Adaptive Functionalities Based on the Current User Emotion and the Context. It is an honor to present our work in your journal Interaction Design and Architectures, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm Wasura Wattearachchi, and I conducted this as my final year research during my undergraduate tenure at the University of Colombo School of Computing, Sri Lanka. And the co-authors of this research are Professor K.P. Hewagamage and Dr. Enosha Hettiarachchi. First, let's go to the introduction. Improving the user experience of devices is popular than desktop systems due to smart technologies and multimodal interaction. Also, effective computing and context suggest building adaptive systems by considering emotions and context parameters. Let me give you an example. Assume it is 8 o'clock at night, you're at home sitting on a chair, and you feel sad while texting with your friend. What if the mobile device can suggest something like listen to music or to play a game to cheer you up? So this is the motivation of this research. When discussing the related work, even though there are different nonverbal emotion detection techniques that can be used, we focused only on using facial expressions and text analytics because other methods are not very much suitable when using mobile devices due to the reasons mentioned in this slide. And this builds the path to our first research question, which was combining these two techniques and to assess the practical applicability and appropriateness of these methods when detecting emotions while using mobile devices. And also the term context is a broad concept, and we incorporated context parameters such as location, time, and user activity since those have been widely used. Furthermore, some recommender systems have kept track of recently and frequently used functions, which is also helpful when conducting this research. There are a few applications that have been developed using these concepts, but to the best of our knowledge, there is no application which addresses all these requirements as stated as column names in the right half of this table. So our aim is to provide a system which incorporates all these because each of these has its own benefits. This paves the way to the second research question, which is how a new model can be developed to do optimal decision making in order to perform effective interactions by considering user emotions and the context. Moving on to the research methodology we used action research with user-centered design, where every step from requirement gathering to evaluation were performed with user participation. And that has happened through prototype evaluation with evolutionary prototyping and using 2 questionnaire surveys. So this is the research design that we used in our research, which contains 6 steps. And when talking about the prototypes and implementation, evaluation, and results together, we conducted our first user survey mainly to strengthen the initial decisions before starting implementation. So there were 7 questions, and out of them 4 were prominent. And from the question 4, we identified that happy, sad, and anger were important emotions to be tracked, but since happy is and already a positive emotion, we did not consider it. So we consider only sad and anger to be changed. And also stated that listen to music, watching a video, and chat with friends are more highly effective. And also agreeing that time of the day and the location of the user should also be important. And we have done the prototype evaluation. And first we developed the prototypes 1, 2, and 3. And it was a emotional keyboard named emotional keyboard, which can track emotions from facial expressions and text and send notifications to the user stating the emotion. So this is a summary of the prototype 1, 2, 3. And all 3 prototypes use the same emotional keyboard and use the same evaluation process. but the notification process was changed a little bit. From these three, prototype 3 was the most successful, which was developed using the collected data during the prototype evaluation from 1 and 2. And after that, we conducted the user survey 2. The main aim of this is to collect data to develop the preference tree for prototype 4. So what this preference tree will be explained in the next slide. So we implemented prototype 4 using a preference tree. So it is a tree which consists of probabilities that a particular user performs a function based on the current user and the emotion. If I give you an example, if we consider this, here the emotion, time, the location, and the user activity can be traversed through the preference tree branch, so that the system here will be suggest function which has the highest probability. So as shown here, which will be listen to music in this scenario. And then if the user has the choice, to agree to that suggestion or reject it. So if he agree to it, the probability will be increased it even more. And then anyway, after he has chosen the function, all the probabilities of the other functions will be decreased using the equation 2. The evaluation was done using 18 participants by asking them to install the app, register, and use it daily. We plotted the correct and incorrect suggestions shown by the app here, but you can see with the time, yes count was increased, but could not exceed the no count. So this means the model may take more time to suggest the functions correctly. So this is a limitation of this prototype. So due to that, we decided to move to another prototype. By here we used the probability based on frequently and recently used functions as well. If a person tends to do functions more often, for example, let's say someone likes to listen to music more often, then that probability will be considered here when suggesting the function. So now both the probabilities, the previous one and the frequent probability, will be averaged with the function which has the highest final probability will be presented to the user finally. So the final evaluation was done using the same 18 participants as in prototype 4 and asked them to use it for 30 to 45 days. 2 analyses have been done. And in here, in the individual analysis, we plotted 18 plots for 18 users and was able to divide them into 3 categories. So here we identified that in the first category, there is one only intersection point, which depicts that the yes count has overrun the no count, and it was increased until the end. And in the middle graph, the reason for more than one intersection point is here the continuous increment of yes and no counts in nearby time instances, which depicts the dynamic behavior of the model, which was trying to do the predictions correctly as much as possible. Here, in the third graph, in the third category, until the end, the yes count was not able to overrun the no count, but it has a higher rate for increment of yes count than the no count, which means after the intersection point, there is a high probability that the yes count may overrun the no count at some time instance in the future. So this dynamic behavior of the model is difficult to be interpreted. So because of that, we have done an overall analysis as well. We averaged the yes and no counts separately for all the users and plotted them against time as shown here. These overall graphs have 2 intersection points, and it shows that for all the users, after that, the yes count has overrun the no count, and then the rate of the yes count has gone higher than the no count in consequent time instances until the end of the evaluation. So finally, here we can say that the model has the ability to dynamically predict the functions without halting the learning process. And we also introduced an adaptive system with user control, where the user can correct the wrongs with time. Moving on to the conclusions, For the first research question, we decided that the prototype 2 is better than prototype 1, but prototype 3 is even more better than prototype 2. And for the second research question, prototype 5 was successful, which incorporated preference tree along with frequently used functions. When talking about the contributions, we developed an adaptive system with user control, where the probabilities of preference tree, frequently used functions, and multimodal dimensional factors formed this new model. And also, this is a novel approach to conduct an HCI research using action research. When talking about the limitations and future work, we can expand the context even more by considering the physical characteristics of the user, sensory abilities, cognition, and also we did not measure the satisfaction after the user has performed a function. And we focused only on 2 nonverbal emotion detection techniques, but not voice or speech.
Actually, I started thinking, what is the situation when there's a morning and I'm still and I'm really angry? And then I understood that this is the moment when I have opened my Duolingo app in the morning and I have discovered that I have been kicked off from the Diamond League. And then I'm angry, and you are correct. Maybe I should listen to some calming music.
Yeah, so it's based on your preference. So that's why we actually mentioned that this model will change with the time, and based on the person to person, this model will change, because initially we start with the preference tree with the probabilities that incorporates some general decision from the population that we considered for this research. But with time, your yes and no, with your suggestions, this model will change. For example, when you're angry in the morning, if you don't have like situation to listen to a music, you may tend to like, let's say, chat with friends. But if you like more tend to chat with friends in future as well, this model will learn about it. The probabilities will be adjusted in future, and during next week when you do it, it may suggest that instead of listening to music, chat with friends. So with time, we think this model will have better accuracy and better suggesting functions.